Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Tour News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Unemployment Relief Program partners with the National Entrepreneurship Development Company. The Ministry of Health launches its InfoMed Plus website. And positive feedback for government's latest security initiative, which may be implemented after final recommendations. Thank you for joining us. Much support is coming in for government's latest security initiative, which may be implemented after final recommendations by U.S. security specialist William Brattle. One member of the business community says he understands the direction of the initiative and anticipates, if implemented, will bring much desired results and success.
Following their quest to curb crime in Trinidad and Tobago, the government has contracted a former head of the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, William Joseph Brattle. Mr. Brattle arrived in the country on Monday. Following his arrival, he visited two high-risk areas in Port of Spain, Duncan Street and Beverly Hills, Laventille. He will now engage the attention of the national security heads here at a conference held at the Hyatt Regency Hotel by the Ministry of National Security. The conference is held under the theme, A Country to Defend. Government is in decision mode as to their acceptance of the CompStat program outlined by U.S. security specialist William Brattle. On Tuesday at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, Mr. Brattle explained some of the mechanism of the plan, which includes a strategy to preempt where criminal activities will likely take place, measures to stop the start of these, or immediate combative measures to deal with incidents. News 4 spoke with Gregory Abode, president of the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association, who noted that he was impressed with the initiative.
I certainly was in support of Minister Griffith's initiative to bring this particular speaker, Mr. Bratton, to Trinidad. His success in dealing with a situation in the United States, particularly in New York City, that was very, very close in characteristic to our situation, is well known. And Mr. Bratton employed fundamentally simple techniques, basic common sense, and some well-rounded strategies, not complicated strategies, just well-rounded in that they addressed a lot of concerns about the quality of the policing, concerns about the behavior of the citizens, and concerns about the enforcement of law at all levels. And those strategies worked. New York today is one of the safest cities in the world.
News 4 also spoke with criminologist Rennie Cummins, who stated that some of Mr. Brattle's plans have been long advocated for locally.
I think it's an excellent initiative because what it does, it brings together in Trinidad and Tobago on our soil expert intelligence. And what we need is definitely more diverse intelligences, and we are getting that from Mr. former Police Commissioner William Bratton. I think what we need to do right now is to really collate all the ideas. And he spoke to having that diverse mix of intelligences. He spoke to using creative measures to treat the crime. He spoke about cross-wiring, about collaboration. And these have all been things I've been speaking about for a very long time. So I feel really excited to know that someone else is saying it. And I really hope that we will understand what we need to do and really get down to the groundwork.
The CompStat program has been credited for reducing crime in major U.S. cities. But the program is not altogether new to local law enforcement, as Deputy Commissioner of Police Mervyn Richardson told us that some elements of the program has been in use here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Already we have certain things in place and we are doing certain things. We already have CompStats. That's something that we do here every week. The commissioner and myself go out to the various divisions, branches, and so we on top of that, there's an engagement at all levels. We have the IATF with the Hearts and Mind, we have the soft side and the hard side of the policing. So yes, we are doing these things, and I too want to lend support that if we continue to work in a very focused manner, doing the right things, yes, we can make a severe dent in the crime situation.
Meanwhile, Captain the Honorable Gary Griffith, the Minister of National Security, has again made it abundantly clear that crime will be reduced under his watch. He said hope was still alive.
Too many people have given up hope. They actually figured that this could not happen, that we cannot turn around the crime situation in our country. I tend to differ, and I think by having Mr. Bratton say what he said, we have seen it turn around in several cities that were much worse than Trinidad and Tobago. If it happened there, it could happen here. We just need to have the political will. We need to be very scientific in the decision-making process of the national security initiatives, because we can't just be spending hundreds of millions of dollars without cost-benefit analysis. So we have to be very careful of what we spend, how we spend, and when it is we go forward with these projects, we need to drive forward with it and ensure implementation. Too often we hear about ideas. Ideas cannot stop crime. It has to be proper implementation based on the threat assessment and then utilizing your security resources in that manner. That is what we intend to do.
The Minister of National Security says Mr. Bratton's visit is not to help government come up with a quick fix security measure, but instead, after study of key hotspot areas in this country, he will make recommendations as to where they should be nipped up to some of government's own initiatives, or rather, altogether make recommendations for new ones. Felicia Wilson-Moore, News 4.
In other news, the Unemployment Relief Program has partnered with the National Entrepreneurship Development Company, that's NEDCO, to launch an entrepreneurship business training program aimed at transforming URP employees into entrepreneurs.
The program is expected to empower some 120 URP employees who were screened by NEDCO and URP to become business owners and hard-working entrepreneurs. During the 6-week-long training program, participants will be taught various aspects of management and entrepreneurship. Addressing the participants, Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Dr. the Honorable Surajwatan Rambachan explains, after the course, the participants will receive maximum assistance to ensure their success as an entrepreneur.
NEDCO will help you to form a company. So now you are a director and you own your own company. And the company will bid for the job. Many of you would not have the finance to do the job. So you'll go to NEDCO and say, NEDCO, this person has done work well, this person has learned how to manage the projects, they have managed it in time and within cost and budget. We want you to now lend them this money in phases in order to do a project. And we are saying that those projects that you will first be given will be projects at about between 150,000 and 250,000. So you will be given that. You will know what the materials you need. The engineers in URP will help you. You will know what the labor cost should be. How you manage it will mean you make profits. How you manage it. So NEDCO will lend you the money, and the check for the project will be paid out to NEDCO at the end of the project. So NEDCO could take its money, and you will then have your profits and what have you from the rest of the money. And you would have become a businessman and an entrepreneur. So don't worry about where the financing is going to come from. What I'm going to ask NEDCO to do though, Mr. Lala, is for a small fee to provide project management services to them so they don't fail. In other words, somebody is holding your hand all the time and making sure that you are able to manage your project and that you do not lose money in the process. I'm putting everything in place to support you so there is no possibility of failure.
Minister Rambachan says in his own experience, being an entrepreneur will transform one's life in a manner previously unimaginable.
You're going to be your own boss in about 1 year's time. And when you really become at that point that your own boss, you will understand how important it is to work for yourself. I have never worked for anyone in my life, except for 5 years or 6 years as a lecturer at the University of the West Indies. I've always worked for myself. I've always had to go out there and sell my skills and earn my jobs and tender for jobs and win those jobs, and sometimes not win them also. I know what it is to have to approach a bank, to borrow money, to live on an overdraft. I know all those things, and this is why it is my desire to see you succeed. and for you to become businessmen also, and to you to enjoy a better quality of life, and to grow up your families, giving them a new opportunity through what you are going to be engaged in.
The minister implores the course participants to not accept failure in this endeavor.
Don't be afraid of failure. Continue to plod along, and something will happen to you in life. And that's where I am today. It took me 31 years since I started my political career with Carl Hudson Phillips in October of 1980 to become a full minister in this country. So this little 6 weeks of training you're going to go through, don't be frustrated by the fact that you don't understand some things. Ask your tutor. Continue to plod along. Because only by try and by determination and the courage to succeed, you are going to succeed. And by God, you are going to succeed if you try. Don't ever see failure as an option. Always see success as your option. Always see success as your option. Never see failure as an option. Failure is never an option. Giving up is never an option. And you will see that you will survive.
Participants in the training course have been given more than an opportunity at working for themselves. They now have the opportunity to change their entire life. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Healthcare centers, contact information, pharmaceutical database. That's what the Minister of Health, Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan, in launching the site says the aim is to make medical healthcare easier and understandable to the average patient.
Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan has unveiled moves to create a portal available to all citizens, providing medical information on pharmaceuticals as well as health research on medical problems, statistics and data specific to Trinidad and Tobago's health system. In launching InfoMed Plus, a free academic and information access online database, the minister says the website will provide medical students here in Trinidad and Tobago medical journals critical for their studies. The aim is to lessen the cost of study and research materials on students.
We have decided now to move in another direction, putting this portal forward not only on the internet, as we do have it on our website, but also, I'm told, Dr. Ramcharan will expand on it. Mr. Ramcharan will expand on it. The mHealth portal, which will be an app on your phone from the Ministry of Health, and we'll tell you more about it on slides. You will be able to access medical information, possibly journals eventually, and there will be feeds that will continue to move in a direction of information.
The health minister anticipates that this new portal will make international best studies in the medical world more available to local students, giving them the opportunity to produce a higher level of academic works.
I'm asking the general public and also doctors to take the message forward. Register to use this portal, utilize the portal for your best interests and to international best practices. And I hope from this will come out research and more papers and more journal papers from the nursing profession, the pharmaceutical profession, the medical profession, and also allow medical students to do research at a higher level and get their papers be placed in what they call peer-reviewed journals as a result of having the correct and international journals at their fingertips.
Explaining what InfoMed Plus does, ICT Program Manager at the Ministry of Health, Ryan Ramcharan, says the website will allow doctors to provide patients easier, understandable information on their treatment.
Some of the information available to you: patient education, rehabilitation. This will involve the access to printed material that you can actually print and make available to your patients. These are pre-formatted. They are already structured in a content digestible format so that patients can easily read and understand. And Minister mentioned a very important point, and that is the empowerment of patients themselves with regards to their healthcare choices as well as decisions. So this tool will actually allow patients to take away material for their own reading, for their own digestion, as well as their treatment and therapy as needed.
The website is said to have an app which will allow citizens access to important information such as nearest health centers and health updates at their fingertips through their mobile phones.
This solution can also direct to you breaking health news. So if there is a recent statement by the Ministry of Health and the Minister of Health, you can simply launch your app on your device and you will see the latest statements put out by the Ministry and the Honourable Minister in this case. Photos, promotions, Fight the Fat, some of which you've heard before, as well as upcoming programs, as well as a health map. This map was designed to utilize the GIS components on your smartphones. So the map uses your georeferencing to identify to you the approximate nearest location of a health center, as well as the contact details for those particular centers.
The minister says this is just one of the many ways of making healthcare citizen-centric. In order to access InfoMed Plus, visit the website at www.health.gov.tt. Kimberly Ram-Calawan, News 4.
The government, through the Ministry of Tobago Development, has issued checks to the Tobago House of Assembly for the first quarter of the 2013-2014 financial year, amounting to $611,018,760. Checks, which, according to Dr. the Honorable Delmon Baker, were received by the Assembly.
The Tobago House of Assembly has received the allocated funds for the first quarter of the new financial year from the government's 2014 budgetary allocation. This according to Minister of Tobago Development, Dr. Delmon Baker, at a press conference held recently at his office.
The checks amounting to $611,018,760 were issued through the Ministry of Tobago Development on behalf of and approved by the Ministry of Finance. They were issued under two particular votes or programs, the recurrent expenditure, and for that they received $520,222,260.
An additional $90,798,500 was given to the THA for developmental programs. Minister Baker said the Ministry of Tobago Development was responsible for processing and issuing those said checks after what he described as a careful and thorough auditing process between the Ministry of Tobago Development's Accounts Department and that of the Ministry of Finance. The THA was informed through the Office of the Director of Finance that the money was available, and the checks were then picked up on the morning of October 14th, 2013.
I am never a part of the process generally, but I have mandated my permanent secretary, Ms. Bernadette Solomon Koroma, when the ministry is in receipt of pending releases to the THA, immediate action must follow.
The minister added that the THA would have requested the funding and the necessary processes were done without delay, and the money was released to the THA within ample time. Meantime, a list of nominees for the TRHA board was sent by the THA to the Ministry of Tobago Development. Minister Baker said the list of nominees has been outstanding, and the ministry is still awaiting the curriculum vitae of the nominees listed before it can draft the cabinet note, taking these nominees before the Cabinet Board's committee.
Since the TRHA falls under the 5th schedule, it is the policy for the list of nominees to be sent through the Ministry of Tobago Development to the Cabinet. The Tobago Regional Health Authority, by seal of the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, falls under the Ministry of Tobago Development officially. However, over time, and because of the fact that healthcare is under the 5th schedule of the Tobago House of Assembly Act, that the matter of treating with those nominations is a matter of procedure only.
He said the Cabinet has adopted the policy of appointing the nominees sent by the THA. but the board won't be appointed until all procedures and protocols have been followed, as well as a meeting with the THA Chief Secretary and the Secretary of Health, which the Ministry of Tobago Development requested as part of the process. Reporting from Tobago, Patricia Nicholson, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. In recent months, Trinidad and Tobago has been doing well in various competitions and at displays in London. Representatives of this country continue that trend at this year's Commonwealth Country League Fair.
The Trinidad and Tobago High Commission London displayed an impressive booth at the annual Commonwealth Countries League Fair at the Kensington Town Hall, London. The fair took place on Saturday and attracted hundreds of persons who were interested in the diversity of the Commonwealth and what it had to offer. Others used it as an opportunity to reconnect with their roots through the patronizing of booths put on by their native country. The Trinidad and Tobago High Commission stall had a lot to offer, with the staff members decked in the national colours, red, white and black. Patrons to the stall were wowed by the display, which included stacks of iconic locally manufactured products such as Angostura rum, Caribbean and many others. Visitors converged on the booth, clamoring to buy delectable local dishes, including roti, pilau, okra rice and saltfish. Another huge attraction was the rum punch stand, which had a steady throng of patrons, many of whom kept returning for more. His Excellency, Anthony Carmona, paid a surprise visit to the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission stall, much to the delight of the staff members and patrons visiting the fair. The President, who was transit in London, commended the staff on an exceptional display. The Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association and the Tobago House of Assembly were two of the major donors that made the booth a success. The High Commission was able to raise £1,000 for the Commonwealth Countries League Education Fund. The fund is the charitable arm of the Commonwealth Countries League, which is involved in projects to promote the education and advancement of women throughout the Commonwealth as a contributory factor in the alleviation of world poverty. The fair is organized annually with the help of Commonwealth High Commissioners in the United Kingdom. It is a spectacular occasion which showcases the unique crafts, cultures and culinary diversity of the Commonwealth. Tourism attaché Ms. Archie Kemba Phillips was delighted by the massive turnout and interest generated in Trinidad and Tobago. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, as we wrap up, wherever there is a Trinbagonian, you can be sure to find a crowd of interested persons curious to learn about our culture. This was in fact the case at the World Travel Market 2013, also held in London.
Trinidad and Tobago exhibition at this year's World Travel Market was a clear favorite, eliciting swarms of diverse visitors. The WTM ran from November 4th to 7th and was held at the Excel Centre in London, featuring exhibits from over 4,900 tourism stakeholders representing 184 countries. One of the premier tourism shows in the world, WTM attracts thousands of global travel industry insiders, generating millions in business deals for stakeholders. The Trinidad and Tobago exhibition easily stood out with its bright, open and interactive layout and the buzz of anticipation from the scores of visitors. There was a long line as visitors waited to get their photograph taken with a carnival masquerader against a digital backdrop of beautiful Pigeon Point Beach in Tobago. Visitors were also delighted by the samples of delectable local rum and chocolate, with many coming back for more. However, of all the national products which sparked the excitement of the crowd, none were more popular than Trinidad and Tobago sportsmen and global ambassadors Brian Lara and Dwight York. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Mrs. Juliana Joanne Budram, oversaw the proceedings at the exhibition and was joined by several other key Trinidad and Tobago tourism stakeholders, including Secretary of Tourism and Transportation in the Tobago House of Assembly, Ms. Tracy Davison Celestin, as well as Tourism Attaché at the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission London, Ms. Archie Kemba Phillips. Mrs. Joanne Budram noted how important tourism conferences such as WTM are to promoting Trinidad and Tobago and advancing the local tourism industry. She called for more aggressive measures to be taken against the UK government's refusal to rebrand the Caribbean in its air passenger duty taxation scheme, a position which has also been championed by Trinidad and Tobago High Commissioner to the UK, Gavin Nicholas. Tourism attaché Ms. Archie Kemba Phillips expressed her satisfaction with the success of this year's exhibit as she looks forward to building on this renewed interest in Trinidad and Tobago and working further with associates at home and in the United Kingdom. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you so much for joining us.